The game never stops, and neither do we. Welcome to the SDH Network, around the corner from everywhere. It's time for another edition of the Morning Espresso, brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. I'm Jason Longshore. Busy Tuesday on the network, busy Tuesday in the world. Let's get caught up on what you need to know for October 21st. Champions League Matchday 3, it's back, and the storylines across Europe are massive. Let's go to London at the Emirates. Arsenal will host Atletico Madrid. The Gunners chasing their 100th win in the competition's history. Mikel Arteta's side, they've won 14 straight at home in Europe, 11 of those without conceding a single goal. Bukayo Saka already has 11 goals in just 19 Champions League appearances, second only to Harry Kane's record pace. Atleti, they come in struggling for results against English sides. They're winless in their last 9 at this stage. For Arsenal, it's another chance to prove they belong among Europe's elite again. They're leading the Premier League. Tonight could be a milestone moment for them beating a top team like Atleti. Elsewhere, Real Madrid, they take on Juventus in a rematch of the 2017 final in Cardiff. Madrid have scored 18 goals in their last 5 games at this stage, all wins. While Juve have managed just one victory in their last 11 Champions League outings, they lost to Como over the weekend for the first time since the 50s. Two giants in really different steps right now in terms of where their form is. PSG, the defending champions, they are traveling to Leverkusen right now. Manchester City, they head to Villarreal, trying to end a 5-match winless run away from home in Europe. Newcastle United host Benfica. Jose Mourinho's side have not won a match so far in the Champions League. Could be a really loud night at St. James's Park. Getting to the midway point, remember it's 8 games now in the league phase, not 6 like it used to be. So you're not quite there after match day 3. But you also have to remember in this new format that we saw last year, goal differential becomes very important. So you get into some of these situations where a team might have a lead and in the past might have just shut down shop, tried to defend it. Now, if you can go find another goal, it could mean the difference between going straight into the knockout round or having to go through that extra play-in round. It could be the difference in seeding. It could be very, very important. Let's go to Sweden. A Fairytale from the Baltic. Mjällby, they make history. It's maybe one of the biggest stories in European football in decades. This tiny little club, Mjällby, they are Swedish champions for the first time ever. They're from the small fishing village of Hällevik. Population just 800. They clinched the Swedish title with a 2-0 win at IFK Gothenburg, sealing one of the most remarkable achievements in any season in Europe, let alone this one. The club's head coach, Anders Torstensson, who has spoken to us on the Roots show here on the SDH Network. That was in the last month. You can go back in the archives and check that one out. Anders is a school principal by day. Their chairman, Magnus Emius, he was born in the area, helped save the club from near collapse 9 years ago. They were 1 loss away from going into the 4th division in Sweden. Now, this season, they might set an all-time record for points. They've conceded just 17 goals all year long. And the roster's mostly local players. Next year, they'll be in the Champions League qualifiers for the first time in their history. Absolute fairy tale. And what's always cool about whether it's Morning Espresso, whether it's The Roots, whether it's other shows on the network, SDH AM, John Nelson loves getting into stories like this. It's just a reminder that, yeah, we love the bright lights of the Champions League. We love the bright lights of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Some of the coolest stories are in some of the most out-of-the-way places, and they're not written by the big headliners. Some of the most heartwarming stories are some of these. A club like Mjällby, just such a cool story. I can't wait to continue to follow them and see where they end up. Let's come back to this hemisphere and some big news off the pitch. U.S. Soccer, they've confirmed a joint bid with Mexico, Costa Rica, and Jamaica to host the 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup. They're the only bidders, so confirmation at the FIFA Congress next year in Vancouver. It's just a formality. The tournament will expand to 48 teams on the women's side, and for the first time, it will span North America and the Caribbean. new nations and new fans are going to have a spot at the stage for the women's game. You go back to the Rose Bowl being sold out for the final in 1999, and then you look ahead to what's coming in 2031. The U.S. is going to have a huge hand in helping shape the next era of women's football. And Atlanta might have a huge hand in shaping the next era of women's football. I would love to see Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the running to host the Women's World Cup final in 2031. It's something that I've felt like could be a centerpiece of that bid. It's something that I hope will be announced as part of that bid. I'm sure that the Atlanta Sports Council and local leaders are lobbying for that. Other cities will be as well. But I would love to see that final come here to Atlanta. Let's take a look at Major League Soccer as we're on the eve of the playoffs getting started. It begins tomorrow in the wild card round. And look, parity is the name of the game when we talk about MLS. And I think that's a great thing. You haven't had a repeat champion since the LA Galaxy in 2011 and 2012. The Galaxy won last year's MLS Cup championship. They missed the playoffs entirely this year. The New York Red Bulls, 15 years straight in the postseason. Nope, that's ended. They did not make it this year. Every season resets the deck, and then every playoff resets the deck. Remember last year, Atlanta United getting in on the last day and then knocking out the top seed, record-setting Inter Miami squad. Columbus and LAFC are the only teams to reach MLS Cup more than once in the last 5 years. Everybody else, I mean, it's a revolving door of new challengers, storylines. It's what makes the league unique. It's what makes the league unpredictable. It's what makes the league, I think, incredibly exciting. You don't have these gigantic separations between teams, so you can get hot and make a run. I think coaching and tactics come into the play in a big way, but I also think individual performances, players can become heroes in this kind of postseason run in a way that you don't get in other leagues that don't have a postseason and don't have the parity that Major League Soccer has. I love it. I'm really looking forward to this playoff, even without Atlanta United being part of it. And we'll be talking all about Atlanta United all week long, waiting on a press conference about the decision to fire Ronnie Deila, waiting on what's next in that regard. So stay tuned. We'll be talking about it whenever it comes up here on the SDH Network. Let's go to Mexico. Liga MX looking at getting their new era started and ending multi-club ownership within the league. Liga MX president Mikel Arriola, he confirmed that by 2026, the league will officially end timeshare ownership, where one company controls multiple clubs. It's been agreed to for a while. It's been a long time coming. This is the issue that cost Club León a Club World Cup spot earlier this year. Atlas and León are in active sale negotiations right now, and Arriola said that the new regulations will bring transparency, stability, and trust. It's a league that's trying to modernize a little bit ahead of 2026 and beyond. It's an important cultural shift, and it brings new investment into Liga MX that we're starting to see is a very attractive league to U.S. owners, U.S. companies who want to get involved. Let's get into a trend that I'm seeing around the game, and the numbers are backing it up in the Premier League. The long throw-in is back. Teams like Brentford, Bournemouth, Tottenham Hotspur, they're turning back the clock. You got the towels on the touchline, drying off the hands, drying off the ball, then the 40-yard throw-in going into the 18-yard box. It's not old school. It's data-driven now. Opta's research is showing that long throw-ins into the penalty area have more than doubled this season compared to last season. 6 goals have come directly from the tactic. Coaches are embracing it. Defenders are dreading it. You got coaches. I'm seeing ads for coaches teaching long throw-ins and building the strength for long throw-ins. And, you know, I guess Rory DeLapp is very happy about this. Maybe high school coaches in the state of Georgia from the 1970s are very happy about this. I don't love it. It's interesting to see now in college some teams really be able to use it more than others. Same thing in high school last season. I'm sure this year will be even more. It's a tactic. Is it one that is my favorite? No. Is it one that can be effective if you have the right personnel? Yeah, it can. It can be really difficult to defend if you don't have the right personnel. there's always an equalizer in this game. That's what's so cool about it. I love teams that want the ball. I love teams that want to keep possession, but you have teams that do a great job of nullifying that. You have teams that are smaller and great on the ball and very, very technical. And then you have teams with a lot of big guys who can throw the ball far, and they can be effective. I love that there's always something. There's always a counter. There's always a sucker punch coming the other way. Long throw-ins right now is a big-time sucker punch you're starting to see everywhere. Let's bounce around the world a little bit as you finish up your cup of espresso this morning. Let's go to Korea. Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, they clinched the K-League 1 title, their 10th. A year ago, they were nearly relegated. Gus Poyet's side clinched the title over the weekend. We'll go to Brazil. Vasco da Gama, they're rolling right now under Fernando Diniz. 5 wins and 6. They're chasing an automatic spot in next year's Copa Libertadores. Rangers, they have appointed Danny Roll as their new manager, finally. A couple of no's went their way, a couple of no thank yous to even having a chat. We'll see. He did a very good job at Sheffield Wednesday before they either didn't pay him or bounced checks. I don't think they actually bounced checks. I think they just didn't give him a check. And he got out of his contract in July. It's not going to be an easy gig for him in Glasgow. Rangers have been pretty bad this season. He'll jump straight into the Europa League this week. Vincent Kompany, he extends his deal with Bayern Munich through 2029 after winning the title in his first season. And right now, they have not had any blemishes in any competition so far this season. He's killing it right now with Bayern. And then in Italy, Juve Stabia, they have been placed into receivership in the second division in Italy. They're under receivership due to alleged mafia infiltration. This is not the first time we've talked about this. 2 other clubs have been put into receivership over the last 6 months. It's another crazy reminder of how complicated the global ecosystem in soccer can be. We don't have any clubs under receivership due to alleged mafia infiltration in the United States. It's probably happened somewhere along the line at some point, not at the professional level in any time I can think of. But yeah, you get these kinds of stories from time to time. So today on the board, we got Arsenal potentially winning their 100th Champions League match. We've got a celebration in Hällevik in Sweden with Mjällby winning their first ever title. We got the parity in Major League Soccer. We've got Liga MX with new investment coming. I love all of this balance that we get in the game. You got giants, you got dreamers, you got powerhouses, you got fishing villages. Everybody's got a shot in the world of soccer, and I love bringing these stories to you guys each and every morning. We will most likely add Wednesday morning espressos on a more regular basis going forward. It is going to be slightly optional, so bear with me because I have Atlanta soccer tonight on Tuesday nights. That will mostly be at 10 p.m., although with the Atlanta Hawks getting started, sometimes I'll get bumped to after a Hawks game. There's some occasional ones where they're out on the West Coast, and I'll get bumped entirely, and it'll just be a podcast edition of AST. So, again, bear with me, but we're going to try to start adding Wednesday morning espressos on a more regular basis, and we will have one tomorrow to preview the second day of Matchday 3 in Champions League, the start of the MLS Cup playoffs with the wild card matches tomorrow night, with Copa Libertadores semifinals getting started tomorrow night. Lots of stuff. So we will have a morning espresso this week on Wednesday. The game never stops, does it? And we don't either. We'll see you around the corner from everywhere. And that'll start tomorrow with another edition of the Morning Espresso presented by our friends at Oglethorpe University. Have a good Tuesday, y'all.